episode 713 of the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. Have you seen enough yet? Let's start the show.
We are now the defenders of the stronghold of democracy and of equal opportunity.
You and I, as citizens, have the obligation to shape the debates of our time, not only with the votes we cast, but with the voices we lift.
The people are looking for honest answers, not easy answers.
The very word secrecy is repugnant.
Clear leadership.
And we are, as a people,
not false claims and evasiveness and politics as usual.
Opposed to secret society.
But ours was a nation of the ballot, not the bullet.
And a secret proceedings.
As a people, we cannot afford to let any group of citizens or any individual citizen live or labor under conditions which are injurious to the common welfare.
Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
Welcome to the Aggressive Progressive Podcast. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I am at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, and telling your friends about this podcast. Look, I don't know why anyone is still supporting Trump at this point. So, are we ready to admit we were fooled by Donald Trump? Anyone? This is for my conservative listeners, and I know there are many. It's time to admit you were fooled, right? I know it's harder to admit you were fooled than to be fooled, right? But you know you were fooled. Why don't you ask Senator Cassidy, right? I mean, Senator Cassidy voted to remove Donald Trump when he was impeached after January 6th. But then he thought he came around on Trump and supported RFK Jr., made a deal with the devil, if you will. Senator Cassidy is also a medical doctor who knew better and was willing to believe what he had to know was lies because he's not an idiot. I don't think many Trump supporters are idiots. I just think that it is true that it is harder to admit you were fooled than to be fooled. Donald Trump does not have the temperament to be president of the United States. Donald Trump does not have your interests at heart. Donald Trump is going to destroy NATO if Congress lets him. And it appears to me they will, at least for the next 10 months. I don't know if the Republic can survive 10 more months. Today is 1 year of the Trump presidency. It's 1 year since this man wrestled control of the government in a way that he shouldn't have been able to, because he should have never been welcomed back. Like if the Republican Party was a functioning organization, Donald Trump would have been a million miles between him and the presidency. I mean, it's just not, right? It's a cult of personality, and he's the personality. But I know that if you're listening to me, you're somebody who seeks the truth, and you know the truth. He doesn't have your best interest at heart. I mean, the text messages that he was exchanging with the Norwegian prime minister and the Finnish prime minister over the weekend, where he's complaining about not having received the Nobel Peace Prize, which the nominations were due 11 days after he became president of the United States. Now, I get it. The Nobel Committee gave Barack Obama the Nobel Prize for Peace, and the nominations were due 11 days after he became president, too. I don't think that was appropriate, and I don't think Obama thought it was appropriate. But what did Donald Trump, Donald Trump was not a transformational figure in history. I mean, I guess he is. I mean, for the bad. But the fact that he's complaining and now threatening that he will no longer be peaceful, although he said that's priority, that he spent all this time solving 8 wars, which, by the way, he didn't. I don't think any of those wars are actually solved. But okay. And now he's going to focus on what's good for America. Isn't it the job of the president of the United States to always focus on what is in the best interest of America? Shouldn't, getting a Nobel Peace Prize be a secondary thing? Maybe not even top of mind to a president? But it shows the whiny little baby we've elected president of the United States. And if at this point in time you do not see that, I mean, I know you do. This is the thing. You do. And it is time to walk away from him. It is time to acknowledge you were fooled by this man. You thought he would focus on the economy. By the way, he didn't focus on the economy his first term. He was blessed with a good economy that was given to him by Barack Obama, a good economy which he destroyed by the end of his term. You want to blame COVID for some of it? Okay. He allowed COVID to enter this country. He didn't prepare us for COVID. All these measures that Republicans blame Democrats on, Donald Trump put them in place. Masks, lockdowns, that was him. Are you ready to admit you've been fooled? Are you ready to admit that this is not what you intended? Or are you going to stick with this guy, he's going to destroy NATO. He's going to lead us into a horrible economy. He's going to be tariffing countries because they are supporting NATO. We are part of NATO. It was our idea. And it has served us well for almost 80 years. And he's going to destroy it in a year. We got to stop it. Listen to this. I'll be right back. You ever have one of those weeks that feel like they're 1,000 years long? I think that this has been that week. We look at what's going on around this country and really around the world, and the chaos that has been created by this president. Every week seems like a year, and I think it's by design, right? He wants to wear us out. He hopes that he keeps throwing things at us. We won't resist anymore. It's it's governed by domination, right? And it's his strategy in international diplomacy, which frankly, I mean, even Republican members of the House of Representatives are now saying that if he invades Greenland, he will be impeached, right? You need to go to Congress before you do that. It's just, there is no justification for that whatsoever. The opposition leader, Ms. Machado, was in the White House today. She presented Trump with her Nobel Prize for peace, something he covets. And of course he took it because he's that kind of baby, right? We have a giant baby in the White House that needs things, believes that there is nobody in history who deserves the Nobel Peace Prize more than he does. For the record, he's currently waging war against Minnesota. Okay, just for the record, I don't think what's going on in Minnesota is very peaceful. I mean, can you make peace in Minnesota before you get awarded the Peace Prize? I think it's ridiculous. I think his whole attitude is ridiculous, but I'm most disgusted with, regular Republicans, people like Michael McFaul, who used to be chair of the Intelligence Committee and the Homeland Security Committee. He was a regular Republican from Texas, but a regular Republican. Reasonable. I wouldn't agree with him on everything, but reasonable. Defending everything this man does. There's video of a woman being stopped by ICE on the street and being asked for her papers, prove that she's a citizen. And look, again, I think that we don't want to live in a country where you got to walk around and you're just doing nothing. You're not committing a crime. You're not stopped for anything. But a government official says, identify yourself. And Mike McFaul is defending that. Again, to my Tea Party friends. Remember when you had that big "Don't Tread on Me" sign? You didn't want the government interfering with your lives? Remember during COVID? When the government said if you're going to come to a government building, you should have a mask on to protect yourself and others from COVID, and you thought that was too much? You thought that was an attack on that minor inconvenience was an attack on your liberty? Well, what is this? Right? This is an attack on liberty. And where is the libertarian movement in this country? Does it ever really exist? Or was it just Republicans who like to smoke pot? I really think that's what libertarianism really was. Right? Republicans who like to smoke pot. Period. That's what a libertarian was. Where are they? Because this seems like a job for libertarians. And I get it. Rand Paul is one of the few who have stood up and said, what's going on in Venezuela is violating the Constitution. But, he's supposed to be a libertarian. What's going on in Minnesota is a government overreach that requires oversight by the Congress. It requires that the president's agenda be halted until he complies with that oversight. And I'm waiting. I mean, it's crickets right now. Absolute crickets. And I don't think they're coming around. And I think, frankly, the way this country's gerrymandered up right now, I think it's going to get worse. I think that the partisan nonsense that we've been living through for the last, decade or more is going to get worse. Listen to this. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I'm at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Those are my socials. Thank you for liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, and telling your friends about the podcast. I hope you watched me on CNN last night. I hope I was good. I don't know because I'm pre-recording this before I go on CNN. Of course, watch me on News Nation. I'll be on Monday night at 10 p.m. on News Nation. And other times during the week. So check me out on News Nation. It is news for all Americans as well. And of course, download the Aggressive Progressive Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So it is Friday, and I don't want to end Friday. I don't want to end my show this week on such a downer, right? But I do have to talk about the president's sense of humor, right? Because on Thursday, he tells a reporter, maybe they should just cancel the elections, or maybe we shouldn't have, he didn't say cancel, maybe we shouldn't have a midterm. And of course, Kathleen Leavitt, whatever her name is, the press secretary, says, oh no, he was just joking. The president has a wonderful sense of humor. Did he strike you as the kind of guy who has a sense of humor? But here's the thing, though. In the lead up to the 2020 election, the president of the United States joked about not leaving office if he lost. And then he lost, and he tried to stay in office. He sent an angry mob to the United States Capitol on January 6th who tried to overturn the election, tried to stop Congress from counting the votes. That's what he did. No joke. Now, do I think that he's going to be able to cancel the elections? I don't think he's able to cancel the elections. They're run by the states. Do I think he might try to do something to disrupt the elections? I sure as hell do. And I don't think joking around about it is something we should be doing. Now, look, he's in his second term. He's been through it now. He understands that there will be accountability in this midterm election. He understands. I mean, he could read a poll as well as I could. People are not happy with the way things are going. I mean, people don't approve of him on immigration. It was his strongest number. Why? Because of what he's done with ICE. If it was just the border, and if he was actually going after violent criminals, great. Go after violent criminals. That is not what he is doing. He is going after anybody he sees on the street. Why would an ICE agent walk up to a woman who's walking down the street and ask her for her papers? What is that? Was she a violent person? Was she somebody who fit the description? I don't think so. They have a quota because Stephen Miller wants a country that looks just like him. Okay. Why is it always the people who are the strangest, who are, let's just say less than superior, that think that they are the ones we should all be like? Now, look, I don't want to make fun of Stephen Miller, but I also don't think that Stephen Miller's past trauma, and there's got to be some, guys. I'm not saying it's parental. I don't know what it is. Maybe he got picked on. I don't know. I feel for that. I don't want to pick on him. But I don't think that the United States of America should be subject to his own psychosis. Now, I'm not the first person to say it. I mean, I've said it here before, too, actually. Steve Schmidt said it. He's more famous than me, and he said it. But I've been saying it on my podcast forever, and I've been saying it on this radio show forever. But we are right now, you know, the policy of just kicking people out of this. This is from Stephen Miller's head. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where that pain comes from, Stephen. I wish that you would get over that pain. But I don't think that the United States of America should be paying for his pain. Right? I just don't. And it's sad to see that we are. Right? There are cities in this country right now that are under attack by the Trump administration. They are under attack. And they are under attack because he has a vision for America that is all white. Right? That's it. That's his vision. He wants everybody to look like him. And God, that's a scary thought. Anyway, it's Friday. It's a 3-day weekend. I'm going to turn off the news the minute I get off CNN. I mean, I'm pre-recording this, so it's Thursday night. I am going to turn off the news. I am not turning it on until maybe Sunday morning. I'll watch the Sunday shows. I can't not. It's like part of my habit. It's routine. And I'm just going to play with my dog. And I'm going to watch hockey. And I'm going to watch the playoffs. And I'm going to just forget about it. And I'm going to try to unplug. And I hope you do too. I hope you're able to unplug from this chaos this weekend. And I hope this chaos doesn't get worse so that we have to look at it. But here we are. I mean, January is 15 days old. And it is already, it's already the longest 15 days of our lives. It's going to be a long year between now and November. Now, look, Trump's an old man. I don't know if he can keep it up. But he seems to be wanting to. And he's got a lot of people around him that are egging him on. Welcome back. I am your host, Chris Hahn. I am at Christopher Hahn on X, Christopher Hahn NY on Instagram, and ChristopherHahn.com. Those are my socials. You might catch me on CNN. You will definitely catch me on News Nation and some other places. So make sure you're checking me out on my socials. And of course, if you're not listening to me right at this moment on the Aggressive Progressive Podcast, please download it. And if you are listening to it, hit like, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna, continue down this path of you have to see this, right? I don't want to keep talking about Minnesota, but I feel it's important. And the president is now threatening to put 1,500 active duty U.S. military soldiers using using the Insurrection Act to place them there as if, this is an insurrection. It's an insurrection because he caused it. If it's an insurrection at all, it's not an insurrection, right? The government of Minnesota and Minneapolis are not rising up against the United States of America. There are some people protesting in the street, and these unqualified, unskilled, untrained ICE officers are making matters worse. I am old enough to remember when conservatives used to think that Obama was going to put troops in the street to maintain power. Well, if you don't think that this isn't a test run for the midterm elections, open up your eyes. Okay, this is a blue city in a blue state with, frankly, a weak governor, right? And we know he's weakened. He decided not to run for re-election. And the president is taking full advantage. This is not America. Tanks in the street are not America. Obama was able to deport far more people than Trump did in his first year. And he wasn't shooting moms in the face who were trying to leave a protest. That wasn't happening under Obama. This is not America. This is not who we are. Are you ready to walk away from this man? And where is Congress? This is the other part, that's been really getting to me the last couple of days. I do think that there is going to be a movement in the House of Representatives to have some real accountability. But I also think that Mike Johnson is just going to shut them down. He's going to shut down the whole thing, send everybody home. I don't know the procedure around it. In the Senate, any senator could just walk to the floor and, say whatever they want. Make an amendment. In the House, the floor is tightly controlled by the Speaker of the House. They can have discharge petitions and whatnot, but if the House is not in session, and the Speaker can adjourn at any time. So I think that Congress has abdicated its responsibility. I was on TV with somebody from a group called the Federalist. Right? The Federalist suggests that they read the Federalist Papers, and she was quoting John Jay, who wrote a couple of the Federalist Papers, and probably one of the weaker members of the Federalist. It was Madison, Hamilton, and Jay, right? And Jay. He was, just like, he's in there. Okay, not a bad guy, from New York, first Supreme Court Chief Justice. I got it. Not a bad guy. I like to quote Hamilton and Madison a little bit more because they were a little bit more important to the selling of the Constitution. And they believed that Congress was the superior of the three branches because it was most directly tied to the people, especially the House. And they believed that ambition should counteract ambition and that the House should not be interested in abdicating their power to the presidency. But that's exactly what's been going on the past year. Really, I mean, Congress has been slowly abdicating its power to the presidency for the last, 75 years. But I've never seen anything like this. We have a very successful alliance, NATO, which is now being threatened by the president. Now, the Supreme Court's supposed to speak up on tariffs. And, I don't know if any Supreme Court justices listen to my podcast. I don't get that tight in the demographics of my listeners. But if there's anybody here who works for the Supreme Court, time to get that decision out about the tariffs so that maybe he can't threaten to put tariffs on our greatest allies in Europe because they want to support NATO. America, this is not normal. This man is not normal. Okay? The Greenland issue is an 80-20 issue. 80% of Americans, and that means a lot of Republicans, think it's a bad idea. I don't even think 20% think it's a good idea. It's less than 20%. Among independents, it's even worse. It's 82% of independents thinks it's a bad idea. Some of them don't have an opinion because, they're independents, right? They're living their lives. They're not obsessed with politics like everybody else. But by the way, they are now the biggest voting bloc in America. And Donald Trump is way underwater with independents right now. And that's going to speak volumes in the midterms, assuming we actually have a free and fair midterm. So I am just, again, I haven't talked to you in a couple days. For those of you listening to me on my podcast, I haven't talked to you in a week. And I am just blown away by the fact that more people haven't walked away. How he's still in the mid to high 30s. Some polls have him in the 40s. I don't know how. Grocery prices are out of control. Your life has not gotten better. And he's threatening tariffs on our greatest allies, which is going to make things cost more. And he's threatening to end the greatest defensive alliance in the history of the world. Okay. Yeah. Seems real normal to me. I don't think it feels normal to you either. So I keep getting the question, well, what am I supposed to do about it? I've got a lot of friends who have been emailing me, friends that haven't talked to in a long time. They've been emailing me and they've been saying, hey, how do I help? Well, find a swing district, find a swing state, and volunteer. You don't have to go there. You can make phone calls from your house. There's all sorts of programs. There's all sorts of ways to do it. Another podcast has a thing called Vote Save America. Go there. There are usually lots of volunteer opportunities. I mean, you might have a swing district in your state nearby that you can go volunteer on and knock on doors or, be part of the whole campaign. But I think we've got to stay vigilant. I think we've got to start talking about politics again, too, with our family and friends. I know I've been, I haven't posted about politics on Facebook probably in 10 years, not intentionally anyway. I mean, sometimes my Instagram links something to it, but it goes to a separate Facebook account. But like on my personal Facebook account, I don't talk about politics. Everybody knows I'm political, but I don't talk about politics. I've tried to avoid talking politics with my family and friends for a long time. And granted, I live in New York, so most of my family and friends are here in New York, so what I say to them doesn't matter as much. New York's going to be Democratic, right? No matter what. At least this year. I mean, New York's voted for Republicans in the past, and they might in the future, but I don't think they're going to this year. As I've said on this show, I don't think anything matters politically other than Trump's approval rating. But in some swing districts, you got to get those people who don't like Trump to come out and vote. That's the hard part, right? Making sure they show up. I think we need to show up in big numbers to push back on this man. And I think we need a bigger wave than we've been talking about. I'm more optimistic about the U.S. Senate than I was a year ago. I think that Alaska could be an interesting opportunity to pick up a seat for Democrats. I think Ohio is an interesting opportunity for Democrats. We'll see. I mean, Ohio hasn't voted for a Democrat in a while, but the last Democrat they voted for statewide was Sherrod Brown, and he's running. So let's see what happens. North Carolina, Maine, we can't. I mean, Susan Collins is a reasonable Republican, but she rolls over for Trump just like everybody else. So we'll see where that goes. And then, of course, North Carolina, Roy Cooper, the former governor, very popular. Tom Tillis not running again because he thinks he's going to lose. So just keep that in mind. North Carolina seems like a deep red state, but it's not. It is a highly gerrymandered state that has elected Democrats statewide, at least on the state house side, 3 straight times. So, and one of them is Roy Cooper. He will be running for for Senate. So be optimistic about that. But, don't sit on your hands this year. Don't just think it's going to happen because Trump's so unpopular. We've got to work to win. So, all right. I'm going to remind you now, as I always do, to seek the truth, to question everyone and everything, even me. Seek the truth. I know it's out there, and I know you'll find it if you look for it. And I'll be back here again real soon to tell you the truth as I see it. I'm Chris Hahn. Thanks for joining me on the Aggressive Progressive Podcast.